I have two moms and a younger brother, and I grew up in the mountains of North Carolina in Asheville, although I was born in Waterville, Maine. My brother is 18 years old, so he's 4 years younger than me. And one of my moms had me, and my other mom had my brother. And when we were first born, there was only one mom's name on my birth certificate, and the same thing with my brother. And so that continued. It was just a blank space where it said father. So I was in third grade, and we moved to Vermont for a year so that my parents could legally adopt us. So even though we were both born into this family, it was necessary for the legal rights so that both of my moms could be legal guardians of both of us. So one of my moms legally adopted me, and the other one legally adopted my brother. And then they also performed a civil union, because at that point in Vermont it was 2004. So it was just civil union. I found out about the Rainbow Letters on Facebook because I had heard about Zach Walls and when he talked to the Iowa Supreme Court about marriage equality. And he at one point had shared a post by the Rainbow Letters. And when I found out more about them, it was really cool because I don't really have a community of kids with LGBT parents. And this was sort of a virtual community, and I got to hear more stories that were very similar to mine. And so I wrote a letter, and I then reached back to Julia and said, if there's anything else I can do, please let me know. And we've been in contact ever since. I think the Rainbow Letters is especially important now with the era of Trump because, like LGBT parents are bad for kids or something like that. But they never ask us. And so I think by having this community of people who are speaking out and saying, yes, our family has struggled because of discrimination, or yes, we have struggled for these other reasons, but that doesn't mean that we don't deserve all of the rights that you get. And yes, we are different from you, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't celebrate our differences. I went to a small private K through 12. And so I had friends who I had known since I was 2 years old, 4 years old, and they knew about my family. They'd been over to my house. They'd eaten cookies that my parents had baked for us. And I didn't ever hide the fact that I had two moms. But my junior year of high school, there was an amendment on the North Carolina ballot that said marriage is between one man and one woman. And so I decided to fight against that. And so I started a club at my high school that was, I wanted to call it the Anti-Amendment 1 Club. But my school's administration told me I couldn't have the club because it was too political. And hearing that just invalidated my entire experience because it's not political for me, it's personal. And people who have privilege don't realize that the political for a lot of people is personal, which makes it 100 times harder to fight for because every time you hear about something on the news or see something happen, it hits a little closer to home. And so I decided that I would continue the club anyways, even though my school told me I couldn't. And so at the first couple meetings, a lot of people showed up, and it was really validating for me because I was talking about issues that affected my family and people were listening. However, a lot of people didn't want to have to deal with that. And so a lot of people in North Carolina are fine with my family as long as I don't talk about it. And as long as we just pretend we have a normal family, and as long as we don't talk about the differences and issues that we struggle with, we were fine. But when I started talking about them in high school, a lot of my friends just stopped talking to me. And a lot of the school's administration said, you can't talk about this anymore. So this is another reason because I was the only person in my high school that was at all connected to the LGBT community. And so I was the only face of the LGBT community. And a lot of times kids with LGBT parents are asked to be the poster child and to say And that's problematic because my family's experiences was very different than any other LGBT family's experiences in Asheville, North Carolina, as well as in the rest of the country. So I was the poster child, and I was also struggling with a lot of homophobia in my community. And I think the Rainbow Letters helped me feel like I had other people out there who were fighting as well, and who were on my side, and who understood what I was going through. And it provided me a community of people who I could go and read their letters and say, yeah, I've dealt with that too, and this is how they dealt with it, or just to commiserate about it. And it also provides people who don't want to talk about it or who are scared to talk about it. It provides people with role models who are okay talking about it. And even if that means that those people won't talk about it for a couple of years, it just gives them a lot of validation in who they are and who their family is, to see other people share their stories. Because I think sharing stories is one of the most important parts of fighting back. If you don't know somebody who's gay or who has two moms or two dads, then of course you're not going to really understand. And you might even be homophobic because you just don't get it. But by people sharing their stories, and I always say I have to come out about my family every time I talk about them. For kids who have LGBT parents to come out and say, yes, I have two moms, two dads, a gay mom, a gay dad, a trans mom, then that validates not only their existence, but other people who might be listening, who you don't even know are listening, but who can hear your story and then be a little more, who can hear your story and maybe in the future take that step to say, yes, I also have two moms, and to talk to their friends about it, and potentially help this world become a little more accepting.